There's a story you haven't told yourself yet. Not about the shopping, about what came before it. About a home that had everything, except the one thing you needed most. You know the feeling that starts the cycle. You felt it since before you can remember. But let's start with where you feel it now. Something happened. Or maybe nothing happened, which is worse. And there's this pull, a quiet urgency, less about wanting something and more about not wanting to feel what you're feeling. And then you're in it. The scrolling, the searching, the finding. There's a rush, a real one. Your brain lights up. Everything narrows to this one thing that suddenly feels like exactly what you need. You click buy, and for a moment, you feel alive. And then it fades. The package arrives, and it's fine, but the feeling you were chasing is already gone. You've probably joked about it, called it retail therapy, like it's something light, something everyone does. You might have tried budgets, screen time limits, the 24-hour rule, things that treat the shopping like the problem. But the shopping was never the problem. It was the solution, the best one available to a version of you that learned very early that comfort doesn't come from people. It comes from things. Things are predictable. Things show up. Things don't look through you. This isn't about fixing the shopping. It's about understanding where it started and what it was really trying to do for you. Maybe your home was quiet. Maybe it was loud, too loud. Maybe there was anger or a parent carrying their own weight they couldn't put down. Maybe there wasn't a parent at all. The details are yours, but underneath all of it, something was the same. When feelings showed up, the big ones, the scary ones, the ones you didn't have words for yet, you looked around. And no one was there. Not in the way you needed them to be. Not necessarily cruel. Not necessarily even aware, just absent, busy, overwhelmed, somewhere else. And so you did what children do. You figured it out on your own. But you didn't just survive that absence. You learned something from it. Something so deep it became invisible. Like a rule you didn't know you were following. At first, the lesson was small. A toy held close when the home got too loud. A blanket pulled tight when the feelings had nowhere to go. Tiny acts of self-comfort, things you could control when everything else felt out of reach. Then you got older, and the lesson got more specific. You discovered that what you wore could say the things you couldn't, that makeup could build a face the world might notice, that the right pair of shoes could make you feel, for a moment, like someone worth seeing, because no one at home was reflecting that back to you. What you owned started to become who you were. Not because you were shallow, because identity has to come from somewhere. And if it's not coming from the people closest to you, you build it from whatever's available. The lesson underneath never changed. Things are safer than people. People are unpredictable. They leave. They look through you. But things show up. Things don't judge. Things don't make you earn their attention. You weren't taught to shop. You were taught that comfort and identity both have a price tag. And you learned the lesson perfectly. That lesson didn't stay in adolescence. It grew up with you, and it got more sophisticated. Watch what happens now as an adult when the feeling arrives. A hard day, a fight, a stretch of loneliness that doesn't have a name. The same formless ache you first felt as a child, Only now you have a credit card and same-day delivery. The searching is the soothing. The scrolling, the comparing, the narrowing down. It's the closest thing to being held when no one's holding you. It gives you focus when everything else feels scattered. Control when everything else feels out of reach. The package arrives. For a moment, something lands, and then the ache returns. So you reach again. It looks like a shopping problem, but it's not. It's a pattern that started with a toy held in the dark, became a teenager reaching for identity through things, and arrived here, fully formed, with a whole marketplace ready to meet it, 24 hours a day. Which raises a question you might not have asked before. What happens when you finally see where this started? Something shifts when you trace the line backward. Not everything, not all at once, but something. The shopping stops being a mystery, a flaw you can't explain, a weakness you keep apologizing for. It becomes a story, one with an origin, a logic, a reason. You weren't broken, you were adapting. You were a child solving an impossible problem with the only tools available. And you carried that solution through adolescence, into adulthood, because no one ever offered you a different one. Seeing this doesn't make the urge disappear. You might still reach for the cart the next time the feeling arrives. But you might also pause. And in that pause, notice something you couldn't see before, what you're actually reaching for. Not the thing, the feeling of being okay. The feeling of not being alone in it. You came here because of the shopping, but the shopping was never really the story. The story was a child who learned to find comfort alone, a teenager who built an identity from things because no one was there to mirror one back, an adult whose cart carries the same quiet question it always has. The shopping was never a failure of discipline. It was a child's best answer to an impossible question. How do I comfort myself when no one's coming? Now you know the question, and for the first time, you can look for a different answer. If any of this felt familiar, I want you to know you're not alone in this. Come find us at Retail Therapy Unplugged, and I'll see you there.